Hi, welcome to the Wurtenberg Family Farm. I'm Brenda and my husband Don's behind the camera. When you see these, what do you think? Ooh, there's a weed. No, I think it's time to make dandelion jelly. Okay, so what's the first thing you need when you make dandelion jelly? Yep, dandelions. So I went out yesterday and picked a bunch of dandelions. Then I sat on the front porch and pulled the little yellow parts out, because you have to just pull the yellow parts out. You don't want the green, yucky part. After I did that, I came in and I got some water boiling, and I ended up with 8 cups of water and 8 cups of dandelion. You pour the boiling water over the dandelion and let it steep for roughly 24 hours. So I did it, let it cool, and then I put it in the fridge overnight. So here's my beautiful dandelion tea. Now some people drink this. I don't really like it as a drink. I don't know. Hasn't really caught my attention yet. Hasn't caught my flavor. But it's ready to make into jelly. So what I need to do is get all the dandelion out of it and just keep the tea. So I'm going to put it through a nice little sieve with some cheesecloth and try to get all the dandelions out of it and just be left with that wonderful dandelion tea. Yeah, it doesn't look like much now, but it will taste amazing. Looks like tea. I want to get all that dandelion goodness. Come on.
You know, the way I look at it here with the dandelions, it's actually the first crop of the year.
The first crop on the farm. It's stuck.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. So I'm actually going to take the cheesecloth and squeeze as much juice out of this as I can get. And you can see there are some little green petals in there, and a couple green petals aren't going to be bad. You just don't want to get that big, the big chunky thing at the end. So I'm going to squeeze this and see how much juice I can get out of this dandelion stuff. Ooh, I'm going to have a lot of juice. We're going to have a lot of jelly.
So how do you make sure that none of the dandelion that you have was sprayed?
Because we don't spray anything.
Yeah. I'd be hesitant to go into a neighbor's yard.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't go anywhere you don't know that they don't spray, or like along a road, because you don't know what they spray along the road. You have to be careful where you get your dandelions. Yeah. Here on the farm, as long as you don't get them out of the cow pasture.
No, we don't do that either.
You're pretty safe. There's nothing we spray anywhere, so they're safe. Okay, before I start the jelly, I actually already have my half-pint jars in the canner, heating up, getting sterilized. The first thing I have to do here is measure how much dandelion tea I have. Didn't really plan ahead when I used this bowl because it's hard to pour out of. So I'm going to measure the first bit and then pour it once it's a little bit emptier. There's 4 cups. Ooh, we're going to have a lot of dandelion jelly. This is exciting. I actually sold a bunch of this at the farm stand last year. I think people they want to try it. It's something interesting, and it's really good. Okay, now I think I can pour it. Yeah.
Keep it going fast or it's going back.
Oh, wait.
There you go.
Not quite, almost 4 cups. There. So there's basically 8 cups. And how much is the rest here? Let's see. Okay, 8 plus 3, 11 cups. So now I can calculate how much lemon juice, how much sugar, and how much pectin I need to put in there. I'll put the recipe below that I'm following, but if you look on Pinterest for dandelion jelly, there's a million different recipes. You want to help, don't you? You're not supposed to be jumping up. Off. There you go. So I have the dandelion tea in here. There goes all the pectin and the lemon juice. And I'm going to stir this till it gets to a boil, and then I add the sugar. This is not a low sugar jelly, but it's delicious. And you figure you don't use that much at one time. But this is really good on an English muffin. An English muffin with butter and dandelion jelly. I'm already looking forward to breakfast tomorrow. I was also looking at some other recipes, and I saw one for dandelion lavender jelly. I might have to try that one then too. So, okay, I'll bring you back once this gets to a boil.
So can I ask you a question?
Go ahead. He does this in every video, doesn't he? What is it?
Okay, so you're familiar with the buttercup deal on the chin, right?
The what?
The buttercup flour
Yeah, buttercup flour. What about it?
on the chin?
No.
Oh, I was wondering if you could substitute a dandelion.
Tell me about the buttercup on the chin. I don't know it.
Oh,
So what is it? You get a kiss or something, I'm betting?
so I get to make up the rules? I think we'll have to have some viewers tell us.
Okay, tell me what the buttercup on the chin means. I'd say I'm too young to know, but
Yeah.
that's not right. Getting close to a boil. A watched pot never boils. Yeah, if you notice, it's definitely not a low sugar jelly. So as soon as this comes to a boil, I dump all the sugar in at once and stir it just enough to keep it from scorching on the bottom. And I get it to a hard rolling boil. And do you know what a rolling boil is?
Who, me?
Yeah. Do you know? Can I ask you
Yeah,
something?
big bubbles.
Well, no. A hard rolling boil is when you can stir it and it doesn't stop boiling. Because sometimes if it's close, you'll stir it and it stops. It takes a minute to start boiling again. Hard rolling boil, it does not stop. So once it's a
think I
hard rolling
hear-
boil, let it go.
I hear
Well,
hard rolling boil on your...
I always have my tea kettle filled with hot water, boiling water, when I can, for two reasons. I still put hot water on my lids. I think it softens the rubber and makes them seal better. I know they say you don't have to, but I'm old school. I still do. Plus, I'm not exactly sure how many jars of jelly I'm going to end up with in the canner. So I think I have enough water in there to cover them. But if I don't, I always have boiling water ready just in case I need it.
Makes sense.
So I'm prepared. As prepared as I can be anyway. This is smelling really good. Just the dandelion. It's a unique smell. It's definitely a floral smell. Too bad you can't have smell-o-vision. But it's just about to boil. Okay, the dandelion tea, lemon juice, and pectin are boiling. In goes this tiny little bit of sugar. Whoops, some of it's stuck in the bottom. Hold on. Got to get all that delicious sugar.
So it's still a rolling boil?
Well, no, this part didn't have to be a rolling boil. It's when the jam's done, jelly's done. That's when you get a hard rolling boil. Now you want to stir it. I got sugar on my fingers. Stir it until it dissolves, and then just stir it once in a while so it doesn't scorch on the bottom. And we just have to wait for it to come back to a boil then. But this is where the magic is happening. I guess I don't understand pectin, but the pectin's working with the sugar and everything and making it jelly. So I can still feel a lot of sugar, so it's not dissolved yet. I'll keep stirring until I feel it's dissolved.
I wonder if anyone's ever made this jelly with some other fruit in it to give it some
Oh yeah,
texture.
there's all different kinds of combinations, and I might want to pick a bunch of extra dandelions and try some of them. You know.
Okay.
I don't know. It'd be interesting, you know, because the dandelion has a unique flavor. It's actually, this jelly has been called poor man's honey because the ending jelly kind of tastes like honey. I mean, there's a similarity, and it looks the color of honey too.
But it's a lot more subtle though.
Yeah, it is. It's a very subtle taste, but it's good.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So what would you put with it? I wonder. Like,
I don't know. I definitely want to try the dandelion lavender, the flower, but fruit, I don't know. What would dandelion strawberry? I mean, strawberry's good with everything.
yeah.
And I actually, last year I did freeze dry some dandelion, and I might freeze dry some this year so that I can experiment all through the year whenever different fruits are available. I don't know, dandelion, blackberry. I don't know.
You could try them in small batches.
Yeah. That'd be
Now I
interesting.
have your imagination
Yeah.
running.
Now we're going to have 500 half pints of dandelion jelly.
So between figuring out what the buttercup under your chin and what to put with your jam, you're going to be Tired of all this thinking here.
Thinking of dandelions and buttercups.
Yeah.
And as terrible as it is, when he said buttercup, I have no idea what he's talking about with the buttercup thing. But this is horrible. The only thing that came to my mind was the phrase saying, "Suck it up, buttercup." I don't think that's what he was talking about.
No, definitely not.
So, okay, feel the sugar's all dissolved. Now I just have to stir it once in a while and wait for it to come to a hard, rolling boil.
Awesome.
Okay, we'll see if this is a rolling boil. I know it's not. It's just starting to boil. So look what happens when I stir it. It's starting to boil, but as soon as you stir it, it stops boiling. So that is not a rolling boil, but we're getting there. It won't be too far off now.
I must have missed that week on bachelor living class in high school.
Did they teach you how to can or do any of that stuff in that?
No.
No.
Yeah, they said,
Boys won't do that.
no.
You should, though.
We just wanted to cook meat and make cakes. Things are fun to eat.
Now you just want to cook meat and eat cakes.
Yes.
I make the cakes.
Yep.
If you didn't see our last video, we just finished making beef jerky. It is so good. It's almost all gone already. But my teeth started to hurt from chewing so much. So, too much beef jerky. I think we have a rolling boil now. It's really boiling, and you stir it, and look, it doesn't stop boiling. So I'm going to set the timer for 1 minute. You let it do that for 1 minute, and then turn the heat off. And I'll take advantage of that time to get my jars out and ready to pour the jelly in.
You don't have to stir it during that minute?
No, you just let it sit and boil hard for 1 minute.
Okay.
So then we get the jars out of the canner. We'll be ready to make jam.
Cool.
All right, our jelly has stopped boiling. It's time to start putting it in the jars. And if you notice, I have a towel on the island. If you ever watched me can before, I do that for a couple reasons. Number one, I tend to be very messy. And two, it really helps, like hot jars. You don't want the hot jars touching the cold countertop. It could snap, break the jar, the shock. So it's just handy to have a towel there. And just your basic canning rule, if you're putting something hot in the jar has to be hot. If you're putting something cold in the jar, you start with a cold jar. I wonder how many I have. Ooh.
So what about your spacing on the top there? Do you know?
It's a 1/4 inch head space, and we'll process them for 10 minutes in a water bath canner.
Water bath's a lot easier, isn't it?
Yes. But some things you can only do in a pressure canner. Anything that's low acid, you have to do it in a pressure canner. Any kind of meats, stews, a lot of veggies. So there's a place for everything, but jams are like one of the easiest things, Water bath canner for 10 minutes, bada bing, bada bing. Hopefully we'll have set up jam.
Now I remember as a kid, that was a long, long time ago, they used to make jelly and they would just put paraffin wax on the top.
I remember my aunt doing that. I don't know. I don't know if that's safe. I don't know.
I would think as long as if it's airtight.
I'm kind of a canning novice because I've only been canning for 5 years. I didn't start canning until we bought this farm. So I'm a little late to the party.
Well, you look like a pro.
Well, I've done a lot of it now in 5 years.
Yeah.
But there's still so much to learn,
Yeah.
And so many things to experiment with. Try new things. Now there's foam on the top there. I'm trying not to get that. I should have probably picked that off. Between jars, I'll get in there and pick some of the foam off. But isn't it pretty?
Yeah.
Doesn't it look like honey? It has like the same coloring as honey. Looks kind of like fall honey with buckwheat in it. I didn't do nearly enough jelly jars. I think a lot of these I might just put in and we'll give them away as gifts. So they don't have to be canned because I'll just tell the people to eat them pretty quickly. And one we'll keep for us. Aren't they pretty? And the thing about putting them in hot water is they're hot. Get the lids and rings on. Put them in the canner.
You look very graceful doing that. It's not your first time, is it?
Not my first rodeo. But I mean, up until 5 years ago, I never even thought about canning. My mom didn't really can. It just wasn't part of our life. But then you buy a farm and you have all this food you need to preserve, so you start canning, you know? I'm just hoping the jelly actually sets up. I'm not used to using pectin because all the fruit jellies and jams that I make, I usually add apples or some kind of a fruit that has pectin, or the fruit has pectin in it to start with. So I very rarely actually use pectin. So it always makes me a little nervous. I hope it works.
So I think when you have all them sealed, you should put that little bouquet of dandelion under your chin for good luck. We'll get a good picture of you.
Yeah. Or do I need a buttercup?
Yeah.
I need one more ring. Now, time to put them in the canner. I don't know about other canners out there, but this part's always a thrill for me.
Will they fit in that?
Yes, they'll fit.
Water bath? 11 of them?
Yeah, I think so. If not, we're going to be giving some away, so.
Okay. No rolling boil there.
No, but there will be. The way water bath canning works, after I get them in, I'll turn it up real high again. And when it gets to a boil, that's when you start timing it for processing.
So do you expect that when they all go in there, the water will cover them all?
Yes, but if not, I have my teapot full of boiling water.
Okay.
So I'm always ready just in case, because I'm not good at estimating how many jars I'm going to have in there. So.
Well, you're pretty close. There it goes.
Well, I have 3 more to go.
Okay.
It has to be like an inch over at least.
Well, you're about a 1/4 inch over.
Yeah, I might have to add a little bit of water, but not much.
And that's one more. Will that fit?
Yep.
Gonna squeeze it in there.
Yep, he's going to squeeze down in there. See? But I do need a little more water. So crank that up to high. Pour in my water that was just boiling to I think it's about an inch over it. I think that's about right.
Oh yeah, that's more than an inch.
Well, it can be more than an inch.
Slightly more.
And now I put the lid on and wait for it to boil. And my canner actually has a thing on top that tells when it gets to the green area, you know it's starting to process. So when it's in the green area, you start the timer for 10 minutes. Right, last jar.
Ooh, nice.
So 11 half pints of dandelion jelly that are canned, and then a pint that we're going to eat, and 4 that I'm going to give away as gifts that are not canned. So I'll tell them they have to eat them in like 2 or 3 weeks. But not a bad day, huh?
Yeah.
With weeds.
We're not finished yet, though. I need a picture of you with the dandelions under the chin.
I thought you were going to say it was something like mistletoe. You know, you put a dandelion on your chin, you have to kiss you. That's not it, I guess.
There you go. That works.
He's funny. So thanks for joining me as I made dandelion jelly. And we'll see you in our next video. Bye-bye.